You still have to go to church. While the band takes a little break, they asked me to share a few words and to talk a little bit about one of the songs that they're going to play when they come back from their break. First, on behalf of the MQP St. Vincent de Paul Conference, we'd like to thank you all for coming. I don't know how much money we raised here for the needy, but it looks great, and we're going to be able to help a whole lot of people with food and utility bills and rent and that sort of thing. So thank you to everyone for coming, and how about a round of applause for the MQP folks who work with St. Vincent de Paul. St. Vincent de Paul heard God's call to take care of the widows and the orphans, those who were most in need. He took that to heart because he remembered God's command to the Israelites to take care of them, because once they too were widows and orphans. And so St. Vincent de Paul, in the middle of the 16th century, recruited university students from the University of Paris, and he recruited them and trained them to take care of the poorest of the poor, much like Mother Teresa. They started their work with widows and orphans and street children that were recovering from the Black Plague that swept across Europe in the Middle Ages. And it grew and it grew, and so he started an order of priests called the Congregation of the Mission, and their mission was to provide for the needs of the poor and the homeless and the sick and the orphan. The Vincentians then thought that the best way to make the best impact was to educate priests. And so St. Vincent de Paul and his university students visited schools throughout Paris and recruited young men to be priests. And their main focus was to assist the poorest of the poor. So they started seminaries across Europe and in the United States. They came to the United States in the 1700s. In fact, the seminary here in St. Louis was founded by Vincentians. They've since gotten out of the seminary business. They now run a few universities across the country, St. John's University, DePaul University, a few others. And then in the 1800s, the St. Vincent de Paul Society was founded to carry on the mission of St. Vincent de Paul. It spread like wildfire throughout Europe and then in the United States. And their only focus is to provide assistance for those who are most in need, the poor, the homeless, the widow, the orphan, following the Lord's command. At Mary Queen of Peace, we are blessed with an abundance of material goods. Nobody wants for food. And so we dedicate ourselves to helping the poor of the inner city. In Ferguson, if you know where Our Lady of Guadalupe is, on West Florissant, we partner with them to assist with their mission to provide food and utility bills and rent and medicine for people who are most in need. So we carry on his tradition today. This money, no doubt, will go to carry on the charitable works of the Catholic Church. And for that, we give thanks and praise. I want to tell you a brief story about this song that we will hear when the band comes back from their break. I'm sure you've heard it on the radio. I hear it all the time. It's on my iPod. It's called What Love Really Means by J.J. Heller. And it tells the story of three characters, a boy, a woman, and a man, who yearn for God's mercy, God's forgiveness, God's love. They want to know that they are loved. They want to know what love really means. We are blessed in our Catholic tradition to have a whole host of saints who've taught us how to love. In 1981, in the middle of Europe, on a warm spring day, May the 13th, 1981, a man was walking through the town, and another man came up to him and shot him in the stomach. With the bullet in his chest, the man was rushed to the hospitals where doctors and guardian angels rushed to save his life. The would-be assassin was tackled by members of the crowd. He was arrested, and was almost immediately convicted of attempted murder and was sentenced to a life sentence in prison. His victim lay in a hospital bed, nearly mortally wounded. He was recuperating, and 2 years after he was shot, he went to the prison to visit the man who tried to kill him. They sat across from one another without any barrier between them, and they talked for a while, and when they finished, the victim forgave his attacker, they embraced, they parted ways, and they remained in contact until the wounded man died. If this seems hard to believe or even inexplicable, it may strike you even more so that it's hard to believe that the man who was shot was Pope John Paul II. Arguably the greatest spiritual leader of our Catholic Church in the last 100 years. No doubt, he proclaimed a life of forgiveness and mercy, and he is the one person that we can look to with amazement. John Paul II went to the prison where Mahmoud Agza shot him and was serving his life sentence. The two spoke privately for about 20 minutes, and after this prison session, as he was leaving the prison, a reporter asked John Paul II what he talked about with his would-be assassin. John Paul II simply said, "What we talked about will remain a secret between the two of us. I spoke to him as a brother, whom I have pardoned and who has my complete trust." No doubt, that would be hard for some of us to forgive someone who tried to kill us. And it's amazing to me, I think, that it took even John Paul II 2 years to go to the prison to forgive his would-be assassin. And so I'm led to wonder what John Paul II prayed about in the 2 years before he went to the prison. You and I probably, hopefully, will never shoot one another. But no doubt we say and do things that feel like bullets. And the funny part is that we are sometimes both attacker and the attacked. And much like our commitment to help the poor, so we are called to discover in our own lives what love really means. John Paul II taught us. It means to transcend the self, to step outside of ourselves, to look at another person with eyes of love and of mercy and of forgiveness, and remind that person that they are loved beyond any condition. All of us are called to receive and give that message. You are lovable and you are loving. To give and receive love is a sure sign of holiness. But what is more true is the truest sign of holiness is that we love even when we fail. And to know that we are loved even when we fail. In our brokenness and in our woundedness, God the Father sheds His love upon us and then invites us to share it with others. True holiness is accepting the reality that you are loved and you are never alone. True love is the giving and receiving of love and mercy even in the midst of the pain of our life. There is something, at least to my mind, that unites this definition to our call to serve others, and that is to transcend ourselves, to reach out from ourselves, to reach beyond ourselves, and to see Christ in others, to be ready to serve, ready to forgive, ready to give, even when it costs us. That's exactly what Jesus did. That's exactly what he calls us to do. And together as disciples, we embrace that call. We accept that challenge, and we bring peace into the world. You can do it. I can do it. The good news is we do it together, because we are a church, and we are all disciples. Brothers and sisters, united by bonds of faith, hope, and love, and the gates of hell will never, ever overtake us. Amen.